The worst phase in Indian cricket, at least, is the period after a terrible loss. The 3-1 loss to Australia has obviously kick-started the dreaded post-mortem, opened the door to all possible reactions, knee-jerk responses, meetings and discussions, and the inevitable cracking of the whip. The sound has to be loud enough to be heard, but not too loud to be called authoritarian or unnecessary. That's what the BCCI has done. They've taken some action to seem like they've taken note of India's dismal run by bringing back some restrictions that they had earlier imposed. The BCCI will not allow families to travel with the players beyond a stipulated time. For the long tours, that is tours more than 45 days, which is what this Australia series was, it will only be 14 days of family time. And for the shorter tours, the shorter series up to a week, that's it. This is what it was like earlier before the pandemic. But of course, COVID changed a lot of things. Now BCCI wants to revert to clamping down on the time players will get to spend with their families, their wives on tour. Wives and partners will not be allowed to stay on tour for the whole duration. This seems to be a natural reflex action that Indian cricket primarily ends up resorting to. They seem to be thinking, or at least asking these lines: team is not winning, so it's not performing. And that means there is distraction, and that has to be the families. They need to be in isolation and focused on their cricket. Families traveling with the players just won't do. Of course, this gave birth to many reactions online. Now, I remember a similar diktat being circulated more than a decade ago under a different management and coach. It is one of the obvious reactions that Indian cricket has witnessed. We've seen this across other sports like football too, where wives and partners are a no-no during a tournament. No distractions, please. At the Euros last year, England team were forced to stay away from their partners, not unless they qualified from the group. They were specifically told they did not want a repeat of the circus of 2006, the chaos that followed their Baron stay back then. England is clearly a repeat offender in here. Fabio Capello laid down the law during his tenure: no WAGS allowed at the World Cup, only during the camp preceding it. Roy Hodgson, when he was in charge, famously uninvited the WAGS during the 2014 World Cup, while they were the sole purpose of avoiding distractions and keeping the players focused. There have been other instances, and for varied, rather bizarre reasons too. Denmark banned the WAGS at the 2022 World Cup. Players were told not to get their families along during the tournament. Reason? They did not want to enhance the economy of Qatar. Last year, during a Champions League tie, Bayern Munich's wives and girlfriends, the WAGS, were not allowed to travel to London due to restrictions on away team supporters. So enough instances that puts this act by the BCCI in similar vein of saying that families travelling are mere distractions. But take Chennai Super Kings IPL franchise, Daddy's Army. Every cricketer married with children, and this is one franchise known to travel XL size. I've been a part of it and seen all of it, but that did not stop this bunch for being the most successful IPL franchise. 2 of those 5 titles coming over the last few years alone. One other key protocol that BCCI has now insisted upon is that all players will have to travel in the team bus together. They will have to travel everywhere in one bus. It's a given. But I'm guessing BCCI had to spell this out so that it's not noted down and so that it's noted down and followed. Because few of the players did not travel with the team during Australia tour between the cities. There definitely is an undercurrent of a strong messaging of the management telling everyone to get in line. Toe the rules. Play domestic cricket when there is no international tour, for example. So now, after news of Rohit Sharma training with his Ranji state mates coming out, we saw a flurry of other star players' names getting associated with their respective state sides. Virat Kohli and Rishabh Pant's names are present in Delhi's probables list. Though whether this will translate to participation is anybody's guess. Shubman Gill has made himself available for Punjab's fixture in the Ranji Trophy. There seems to be an underlying sense of poking the players and coaches to get their act together. There's an ICC event coming up, and no one wants disaster to strike the team then.
From breaking news to the day's biggest controversies, shedding light on the world's top headlines, detailed analysis on the stories that matter the most to you. Catch it all on Spotlight at 6 p.m. India time and 12:30 GMT, only on Firstpost.